This is Sydney on Monday with the CrowdFundBeat here in Berkeley, California, in the beautiful campus of the Berkeley and in Bloom Center for Development Center. I said diplomatic, and we have a diplomat here. You're a diplomat.
Oh, really?
Yes, actually, you're coming from UK crowdfunding, and you have billion dollar funding.
So I'm the managing director of Trillion Fund, which is a crowdfunding platform for renewables in the UK, and I chair the UK CrowdFunding Association.
Well, that's great. And you guys had just had a big convention actually over there. You had your meetings actually there. Yeah?
We did. It was wonderful. We had our regulators and Treasury and government everywhere talking about what the future of crowdfunding can be and what it can do for the UK economy.
And so why are you here?
So I'm here to see if I can collaborate with other associations around the world to try and bring all the data together so we can demonstrate what impact crowdfunding is having now and what it might do in the future.
Okay. Well, what's going on with crowdfunding in the UK, Julia?
Well, we're kind of lucky, I think, compared to the US. We have a slightly more flexible regulatory regime. So it means that people in the UK can invest even in equity crowdfunding without being accredited. So it's a slightly more democratic form of finance. We'd like to keep it that way.
All right. So is it growing? But I just saw some report that you're trying to regulate that. What is that all about?
Well, we have two different kinds of crowdfunding. We have debt-based and equity-based. I think donation rewards is fairly straightforward, but we're bringing together those two worlds of peer-to-peer lending and equity crowdfunding. And the key thing is we want to keep the crowd in crowdfunding. We don't want the regulator to block people from participating, and certainly not on the basis of how much money they have.
Oh, that's great. Julia, UK, it's how many people member in that UK Association of Crowdfunding? UK, you call it UK crowdfunding. How many members do you guys have over there?
We got 25 operating platforms, and they range from donation like Just Giving to rewards based like Indiegogo to Seeders and Crowdcube on the equity side. So it's a really diverse group of people.
So that's great. So when you say that internationally, you come to the US and in UK, you guys pretty much getting together, and European part of it. If you have any advice for US people that they have platform and they have, as you know, the SEC has not passed a law like you guys. I've been to London a couple of times, and CrowdFundBeat, by the way, is in London.
Okay.
Also, we have a UK version of it. What is your advice to people here and wait and see attitude here?
Well, I think that we're not that far apart actually in the US and in the UK, and I think the key thing is to demonstrate who is participating and what their motivation is, and that they do understand the risks of crowdfunding. So there's a big value for data, and that's why the Berkeley guys are so key to us, is if we can all get together and share that information and collaborate on it, US and UK and other countries around the world, I think it'll really help people feel more confident and understand that this is a really beneficial entity and could really help the economy, particularly small businesses.
Do you think crowdfunding is here to stay?
I think it's already here. The train has left the station, to quote Tim Draper. I think it's just a more democratic form of finance, and in so many ways in the rest of our lives we've seen a rebalance of power between individuals and institutions, mostly via technology, and this is the last walled garden, and I think the walls are going to come tumbling down.
That's great. So, and you came from that VC, and you came from the financial background. So, and it's very interesting because here in America, they kind of a look, wait and see attitude. But in UK, you kind of embrace that, you guys.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, isn't it? It seems like roles are reversed in some ways. But yeah, I think that there's a lot of angel investors in particular who are now getting involved in crowdfunding, maybe because, given the economic situation, they don't have the liquidity events they're used to having. And what I love about it is the investment amounts are so small, the minimum investments, really everyone can participate, learn, experiment with $20, and then maybe get more experienced and become a little bit more open to risks and larger investments, as they get more confident.
So does that help the economy over there in UK, and is it embracing what a lot of people like? I see a lot of news coming. So is it helping to a lot of small businesses, incubators and startups?
Well, we have an awful lot of debt-based crowdfunding, which I think is really the majority of the market, and also relevant to a large number of people. Maybe not everyone wants to be doing equity investments into startups. We're seeing the government beginning to put some money as well, 100 million here, 50 million there, kind of endorsing the space, which is great. But really, we have a total gap of lending going to the small businesses, and we think that crowdfunding can be part of the solution to both filling the gap left by the retail banks who have neither the will nor the way to lend, but also to creating more diversity in our banking system.
So the government's been helping in a way of prefer to the crowdfunding? They have a good look of a crowdfunding in UK.
Well, we had a report by our banking commission who said very clearly, and I can quote it, that peer-to-peer lending and crowdfunding was a real alternative to finance in the market. And we have 5 banks that are essentially too big to fail and too big to jail. And crowdfunding is part of the solutions to a more diverse landscape, so the power isn't held in the hands of quite so few.
Julia, if anybody is out there in UK and we're going to be broadcasting in UK or crowdfunding, what is your recommendation? If somebody wants to get to this business, how do they start? What do they go as a somebody wants to start the business, being in a platform, or somebody wants to be in the other part? How can they get involved? How can they do it?
Well, the UK CrowdFunding Association has got a very sort of simple list and directory of the different platforms that are out there and who does debt and who does equity. I think it's really a worthwhile thing to do, for an hour sitting on a computer with a cup of tea on a Sunday afternoon. Because it's such a small amount of money, you can either donate or invest. It's really easy to experiment, and I've just got one of those brains. I learn better by actually doing something than reading about it. And the worst case that happens is that you donate something to a very worthy cause, and there's a project which gets off the ground with your support that wouldn't have otherwise. So I think it's a really engaging way. I think it's a transparent alternative to banking. There aren't layers of advisors and intermediaries, and I love that feeling of engagement, of being able to kind of see where my money is and knowing it's doing something that I support and believe in.
So if they want to know, what is the domain name in UK?
So www.ukcfa.org.uk is the Crowdfunding Association's good place to start.
So they can learn all about it. Well, Julia, thank you very much for your time. I know you're busy here. I saw earlier your great speech. We're going to broadcast that, and you're very popular, and we're grateful to have you. And I appreciate having time with the CrowdFundBeat, and wish you the best.
Of course. Thank you, Sydney. Anytime, you know that.
Welcome. Thank you. Good day.